Hello everybody, what is up? Prof Toast here. As you can see, we're here on this beautiful California sunny day. I'm just kidding, it's cloudy all the time, every time. But we're here at Anime Conji at the Marriott Hotel behind us, so definitely gonna be pretty fun. Unlike last year, we're actually staying here overnight, so that means we get to go see all the fun crap that happens after like 8 p.m. up till way later, but yeah. So we're gonna go ahead, this is Saturdays, so we're gonna be doing Saturday and Sunday, so we're gonna go ahead and head in there, see what we can find, and oh boy, Lord, please protect my wallet. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead, check in, and go ahead and pick back up once we get in there. Alright, so we're checked in here at the hotel room. I gotta say, this place, as you can see, is actually pretty dang freaking fancy. This is actually my first time even staying at the Marriott and everything. This is definitely pretty cool. We even got a full-on freaking balcony out here. Check this shit out. Shit's hella fucking thin. Let's see, we got a swimming pool, we got a hot tub and everything. We got some of the cosplayers down there. We haven't actually gone in, we're just kind of like, oh cool, I could check in early. Hells yes. But as you can definitely see, definitely pretty nice. And this is actually definitely a lot better of a hotel room than we had last year and everything, so it's definitely pretty cool. But yeah, it's actually gonna be a pretty fun stay. We're still kind of figured out what we want to check out first. I actually got our schedule, so we're definitely gonna check out some of the voice actors. We got two of them. Two of them are actually from Attack on Titan, which is pretty cool. We got the voice actor for Eren Yeager, and we also got Annie Lionhearts, if I pronounced that correctly. We got her voice actor here. She also did Kasumi from Dead or Alive, which is pretty cool since we've been actually playing that on the channel. So yeah, definitely pretty awesome. So gotta mess around with the TV, see if I can get access to their HDMI cable, because that'd be cool. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead, probably a little bit, go down and actually check out the floor room and see what we got. Alright, and we finally actually made it here. Alright, so we finally actually made it here to the main hall where they're actually selling everything. So this is definitely pretty cool. Not sure exactly what I'm going to get myself into, but yeah. Definitely got a lot of stuff that I can go through. Definitely a little bit different than last year, but still looking pretty dang cool. Alright, so we took a small break back to the room because, yeah, like I said, I was in trouble and had a lot of cool crap in there. So let's go ahead and check out what our current findings are so far. So the first one I got, which we'll definitely be doing a lot of unboxings on these, but I got freaking All Might, I got Saitama, found Majin Android 21, which is hella badass, found some JoJo, I got freaking Bulma, and I found this freaking hella badass freaking Naruto one, so that was definitely freaking awesome. It'd be cool if I can find the Sasuke that goes with it, but we'll see. So yeah, as you can see, so far, definitely found a lot of cool ones to freaking get. So I was like, oh boy, I'm in danger. Alright, so we're going ahead, taking a quick break. Because yeah, see, 2:30, we're gonna go check out a few voice actors that are gonna be there. Let's see. I go down to the hall again, waiting to meet up with one of my friends who's also supposed to be showing up sometime today, but yeah. So for now, just taking a quick breather, because yeah, the sales floor was pretty awesome. Like, oh my god, what do I get first, man? I don't know. So I don't know if you could see it too good, but so the first guy we're gonna go see is the Bryce Papenbrook. As you can see, he's done like Attack on Titan, 7 Deadly Sins, freaking Blue Exorcist, Red and Pokemon Origins, all that. So that one's actually surprised me. I'm like, oh shit, that's badass. Second one we're gonna check out is Landa. She's done, like I said before, Kasumi from Dead or Alive. Done another 7 Deadly Sins character, Fire Emblem, bringing a Sailor Moon and everything. So definitely pretty freaking cool. I'm actually excited to see these. I think they're supposed to all be at one panel. So yeah, I may go ahead, head down in just a little bit just so I can check out some of the cosplays they got going on. And, you know, also check out some of the panel at 2:30, I think. So yeah, we'll be going ahead and filming that. Also, we got the Masquerade that's coming up tonight, so that'll be fun. It's pretty cool last year, so yeah. So we'll go ahead and pick back up once we go back over there. Alright, so now we're getting ready for the voice actor roundtable. As you can see, we're still waiting for everything to start up. Got to meet Merlin from Seven Deadly Sins voice actor, so that was actually definitely really cool. So we're just gonna go ahead and wait for this one to come up, and yeah, so it'll definitely be pretty cool.
We get to know a little more about our wonderful panel of voice actors that are here. These are the ones that are voicing the characters that we have grown to know and love and appreciate for all of their hard work, or not, I don't know. Okay, yeah, I was trying to give love, but you know. But the hard-working industry folks that are here voicing the characters we have all appreciated, we've loved, or hated, which is true, that's also a good thing.
Villains.
Villains, yes indeed. There you go. Let's take a moment to introduce our wonderful panel here. Laura Stahl is right here, present, so a round of applause. Stahl. I mean, I'm going off of this, and I'm terrible with names.
Does it say Strahl?
No.
I did not write Strahl down.
No.
Cool.
You know, we have one of the microphones here if you'd like to say a couple of things before.
Is this one not on? No, you.
You.
Turn it on.
Yeah, turn it on. It's all okay.
There you go.
There's a switch. And we have power. There you go.
That was not me.
Oh.
I did not Pikachu. Bless you.
I wish I was Pikachu!
Oh, girl. I beg your pardon. You got some good roles going on. You're okay. You're doing just fine, baby. Hi, I'm Laura. How you doing? Hi. I don't know. You know me from Beyblade Burst Turbo as Iger Akabane,
Yes.
or JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I'm Hayato Kawajiri,
Yes.
and in The Promised Neverland I play Rei. So hello.
It's okay.
I'm new. This is my first con as a guest, so please be gentle.
Wow. First timer. Perfect.
Yes.
Laura, ladies and gentlemen.
You know her.
We do know her, but we are going to announce the wonderful Lauren Landa, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God.
You poor thing, don't lose your voice. You hear this? Hi guys, it's my first anime Conji. Very excited to be here. It's nice to be in California for a con for once, you know. You might know me as Merlin from Seven Deadly Sins, Annie Leonhardt from Attack on Titan. That's where I love you. Can you just follow me around everywhere, please? Sailor Neptune in the Visma and a lot of like cool video game characters and all that stuff. But I'm really excited to be here. So yeah. And this is not a round table. I am really upset right now.
Where's the table?
It's called imagination.
Okay. Well, I have a ton of that. I'm an actor. So.
Semicircle, that sort of counts. That works.
We're rounding up.
Who is the table? Exactly.
This man should need no introduction, but we're going to do it anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only Ezra Weiss.
Thank you so much. Hi, my name is Ezra. Hi, you guys.
Hi.
I'm a voiceover actor, voiceover director. If you haven't seen Megalobox, you should see it because it's super good and many people are voicing on it that might even talk about it. Thank you, Dora. And also Miraculous Ladybug. If you've seen Code Geass, I'm Mao in that. And Vampire Knight, I'm Kaname Kurama. And I forgot who I was on Sword Art Online. Do you remember you fought me?
Eldria.
I don't know who he was, but I don't even know how to say his name. Eldria. But yes, we had a great scene together that we recorded separately.
Yes.
Right.
Ezra Weiss, ladies and gentlemen. The wonderful presence in the middle. Dora Fine, ladies and gentlemen.
You may know me also from Beyblade Burst Turbo. I play
And I also am Sakura's mother in I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. Yeah. And the upcoming game, The Somnium Files, I am playing Hitomi Sagan.
He actually has his own mic for the other side of the semicircle, not a round table. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Ochman.
I wanted to be in a show called I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, but that's just such a cool title. But we are in my 40th year as an actor, which is kind of weird. I'm on camera and voice of a lot of anime. Zeno in Hunter x Hunter. I'm William Zeppeli in JoJo. I'm Mayor Bourgeois in Miraculous. Thank you. I love the Miraculous fans. They're the Beatles. It's Beatles fans. It's fabulous. This is also the very first con that I can say that I am the current voice of Jiminy Cricket. This is the first time I can say it out loud. Wow. I have to say current though, because I'm walking in the shadows of giants who came before me.
How long have you been voicing? Can you say that?
I can say that I've been doing it now for about 5 years. It started with the Kingdom Hearts 2.5 remix. Kingdom Hearts 2.5. I'm in Kingdom Hearts 3.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. So it's one of the great pleasures of my life, and now I'm going to move on.
One more round of applause for Joe Ochman, ladies and gentlemen. Kim Lin Tran, ladies and gentlemen, Kim Lin Tran.
Hi. You've probably heard of my work in Beyblade vs. Turbo as well as the voice of Vault when he's not defending his title. I'm also in Cells at Work as Baby Robbie Damon, the little cell version. Yes. And I'm also in Baby Robbie Damon. I'm in Rising of the Shield Hero as Keel in the really sad episode with Raptalia's past. That sad episode. Yeah, that one. Yeah, don't spoil anything. No spoiling anything, but it's sad. It's sad.
Kimlin, is this sad?
Did anybody get a close-up of that facial expression right there? That was amazing, by the way. Good stuff.
And lots of video games like Dust of the Lucian Tale, Skullgirls, Wargroove, and yes, I'm gonna pass this mic along now.
Kim Lin Tran, ladies and gentlemen, Kim Lin Tran. And rounding out our society of 7 here, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Bryce Papenbrook.
What's up, everybody? So you might know me as Aaron Yeager, Kirito in Sword Art Online. That's great.
It always makes him giggle like that.
Cat Noir. See Nagi out there. I'm Nagi in Danganronpa.
And booby dude, Bryce?
What?
Is that the booby dude?
There's other booby dudes. Yeah, I play a lot of booby dudes. Wikipedia knows the rest. But very excited to be here and hang out and chat with you guys.
It's not cute.
All right, one last round of applause for Bryce, and one last round of applause for our wonderful panel here. I actually should not say last because there will be tons of applause to be had here today. You guys are all fantastic. For those who are in the audience, so this round table, it's much like a Q&A, but what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get a conversation going here. So we'll give a topic to the panel here. It might be industry related or it might be completely random. It's all located on my phone here based on the questions we have. We will open it up to the crowd towards the end of this panel, but I did just want to get everybody started here. So for my wonderful panelists, there'll be a topic that I would give to you. Feel free to talk about it, give your thoughts on it. We don't need to take too long, and I'll just keep throwing things at you once I feel like I want to stop the conversation and go somewhere else. Is that cool?
Yeah. Sure.
Crowd, are we ready? Yeah. All right, so we're gonna keep it easy for this one, or it might be hard for others. First beginnings within the voice acting realm for all of our panelists. Just talk about experiences that you've had. And again, there's no order here, so we're not looking for anybody to speak in order. Share about first experiences, what it was like, the first gig that you got, if that's relevant for you, and the first memories you remember, first experiences. So I'll leave you to think about it for a minute, folks.
You want to start out? I got one.
Yeah, all right.
Go for it.
Okay, yeah, and I'm gonna go with my first anime experience because before that I worked for quite a long time doing on camera. I've been on a lot of shows. Look me up on IMDb. It's not important. There's a little list over at my table. But the first time I did anime, a friend of mine had gotten me in to a Walla session. Does everybody know what a Walla session is? Yeah. Good. It was a group Walla session, and it was for a show called Eagle Riders, which was done in Savannah. And because Savannah at the time was doing everything on Earth. And I walked in there, and there in the room with me is our 5 guys who are like cream of the crop of the industry, including your dad.
That's awesome.
Which was cool, and Mike Sorich is another great actor. And I think Epcar was in the room. I like all these great voice actors. And they're all in the room getting ready to do their Walla. And they're going, hey, how you doing? Do you think I'm funny so far? What's it like? How are you? Hello there. Nice to meet you. And I went, oh, that's what it's going to be like. It's going to be kind of broad and big, and we're all going to be pretending to have fun. I can do that. And actually, we did have fun. They were great, and that's kind of how it started. It was an absolute blast. And I've been working with these guys over the years. They were amazing friggin' actors. And that's how it started.
I'll say how I got started because it has to do with Saban also. So my dad was a voice actor. He played
one of the best.
Thank you. He played Rito Revolto, the skeleton dude on Power Rangers. It was awesome to go in and watch him work. They had all the monster suits lining the stairs up to this one booth out when they were in Valencia. And I was about 8 years old, and I used to love to go and just watch him do his thing. And this one day, they needed a kid's voice, and my dad's like, he's a kid, throw him in the booth. I became a voice actor. Yay, child labor! So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's really a lot of fun.
Oh, hi. This is in my face now. First voice acting thing or first anime voice acting?
Your choice.
The answer is yes.
Oh, I get to pick. So my first anime experience, it's the whole reason I got into anime is first it's Kyle McCarley's fault and then it's Erica Mendez's fault. So if there's anything that I did that you didn't like, go ahead and blame them for me. Thanks. But I got to audition for, my first anime audition was from Lucian Dodge and Laura Post for Little Witch Academia.
Oh yeah.
I have a small role in that. I played a character named Wangari who is incredibly loud. And that kind of set the tone for basically the rest of my career thus far, is just screaming forever. And so
I feel you there.
Do you get that?
We live that too.
I just did a 13-second scream montage that was a magical time to be alive. Anyway, but in any case, I went in and she was basically she was this announcer for they were doing a broomstick race. I don't know if you guys watched the show or saw that episode, but there was a broomstick race. You know that really incessantly screaming loud, and now this person's in front, holy shit! That was me. My bad, sorry if I hurt anyone. But, so I was nervous, but I was so lucky because we'd already become friends by that point. We'd known each other for a little while, and we'd hung out a little bit, and they were sweet enough to give me my first shot. So I walked into a friendly booth and somehow made it through. And then kept going, and now I can't stop. It's like a disease. Seriously, don't start. Don't do drugs, don't do voiceover.
So we're just a little bit off topic for just a small second, because I have a follow-up question for Bryce.
Sure, yeah.
So when Bryce was talking about how he went to that studio in Valencia to do Power Ranger stuff with his dad, and then they threw him in the booth, I was around in the hallways also doing work with his dad, and that was as I was getting my start, which is not, it's as interesting as everyone has just heard, so you don't need to hear another interesting story. I'm gonna jump for a second. I'm curious because Bryce was, because of his dad, because everybody knew and worked and he was always with his dad whenever he was able to, because he enjoyed being, it's a kid in the world of Saban Power Ranger, the costumes, the posters, the figurines. Just to give you a hint, this was like just before South Park started. This was around that time, okay? And what were you? You were 8 or 9 or 10 or something?
8 was the first time I got thrown in the booth, but I had been hanging out, with him before that.
Right.
Kind of grew up around that. And as a martial artist myself, that's the coolest thing to be able to go there and hang out.
And downstairs was a studio, so where they would film those American scenes before they used the cut scenes for what Power Rangers was. And I have 2 kids. My kids, when there's a kid thing, I'm like, let's put them in the booth and get that kid voice done with, because it's easy to do and it's hard to find a kid outside of a circle. Like, we'll always check in with each other, like, do you know of any kids who can come in and do this small part? So my kids for Miraculous Ladybug, they voice like rando people in the streets or itty bitty Kwamis here and there, right? So Bryce, the question is, because my kids are not going to pursue a career in professional voiceover, at least, presently, what was the first job that you had that took you out of the realm of, yeah, throw my kid in there and you did it, versus, oh, this is my first part that I'm playing and I'm feeling like this is a change of just being the kid voice?
Yeah, I think it was a show called Dot Hack Sign Legend of the Twilight Bracelet. So I play a character named Shugo, and it was actually with the great folks at PCB. And I went there and I got kind of thrown in for the audition, but I was auditioning against everybody and happened to get chosen for a kid who goes into a video game where you can die in the game. And now I've grown up to play, as an adult, to play a kid who goes into a game, who can die in the video game. So it was kind of interesting. I think that was my first time where it wasn't just because I got thrown in. I had, the auditions with everyone. That was my first lead in a show.
Yeah, because I remember seeing Bryce, and at that time, Bryce was mainly a kid, a student, and really focusing on his martial arts and his boxing.
Yeah.
Like, his dad would talk more about Bryce being a boxer and his accomplishments in the ring when we would all see each other. And then there was a small 2 or 3 year period, and then bam, Bryce is now doing voiceover stuff legit all the time.
I wish I could tell you how it happened. I don't know.
Right.
There's not a trick to make it happen. It's just kind of like you happen to audition for something and someone hears that one little thing where they're like, oh yeah, that guy. I want that guy to do this. And then it happens again and again, or not. It's totally random.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. All right. So that was I was always curious, because, you guys heard the credits that Bryce has, and you love the shows that he's in. I'm like, when did that happen? I mean, I know it happened, but I wanted to know when that happened.
When?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that was even before I really focused and made the decision I'm going to be a professional voice actor.
Yeah.
I think that decision was made right as I was graduating college. I almost went to law school. I was about to take the LSAT, and that's when I got cast in Vampire Night and in Durarara.
Durarara, I remember, is a big title for you.
And I think the moment that kind of changed my career was when I auditioned for Durarara. I brought my wife with me to the audition. This was back when you would actually go in and read for a casting director.
Those were the days.
They were great. So my wife was with me, and I was kind of showing off the character that I ended up getting cast for, Masao Mikita. And I kind of brought that with me into the booth, and that must have come through because they're like, oh, you're this character. And from there, the ball just started rolling.
Nice. Awesome. All right.
By the way, Ezra, do never apologize, because that was absolutely amazing.
Oh, great.
He's kind of a champ at that.
I kind of look... Little side note, I kind of look up to Ezra as a host, so getting tips, I'm like, oh, that's how you do it, awesome. So
He's fanboying. Let's all talk about how great Ezra is.
I could spend spend the rest of the panel doing
Please don't do
that.
this. It's easy.
We'll continue. Brief beginnings, and then I'll throw another question. Or if you guys would like another question. How do we do it?
Beginning?
Yeah, beginning.
Your door's beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, how'd you start, Dora?
Yeah.
Once upon a time.
I'm trying to remember.
The truth was very
Yes,
insightful.
insightful. So beginnings, acting, voice acting.
Voice acting.
Voice acting, let's do
Voice
voice
acting,
acting.
yeah.
Well, some of you already know this. I originally was just a drama teacher in Orlando, Florida, and a performer, a theater person, and I was just an anime fan, and I was just on staff for Anime Festival Orlando, and I was not happy with my life. I had cut the arts in my school district, and I was no longer teaching drama, and so I just escaped and was having a good time and sitting at the pool at Anime Festival Orlando talking to Tony Oliver.
Are you still on the run, by the way? You escaping?
You escaping? I am, maybe. I think it is an escape. It's always fun. I'm still on the run. And we just started talking about theater, and I hadn't even thought about being a voice actor at all. I would never move to Los Angeles, that plastic place that isn't the theater. And we got to talking, and I took a chance and took some classes with him, and we became very, very dear, close friends from there. And I ended up, fast forward, I ended up quitting my job and saving a bunch of money and moving out to Los Angeles 7 years ago. And I think it was about 7 years ago, or it was 8 years ago. I think the first time I did some incidentals for K-On! Season 2 with Tony. I think that was my first. Yeah, you're also, that's your first, the first one, or no?
First time doing incidentals.
Incidentals. Oh, that's very cool. Very cool. So same one for you. So I don't remember much of it, but it was really fun. And since then, it's been quite a few years since then, since I started booking regular roles and things like that. So that's my little story.
So we're missing anybody on the panel right now that hasn't gone, or either or, doesn't matter. Let's see. Has anybody not gone yet? Because I totally have lost count.
Yeah, sure.
You got the
My first anime show was a show called Magical Girl Lyrical Nanoha, and that was about, yeah, it's a mouthful. Yeah. It's a total mouthful. And actually, kind of a really funny, vague story. I actually sort of knew of Bryce's dad before I met Bryce, and that was years before I was in the industry. And now, X amount of years later, now Bryce and I have been in a crap ton of shows together. And every time I'm at a convention with Bryce, it's always like, oh my God, Bryce Papenbrook! Like, I think it's my sole purpose to embarrass Bryce just by fawning over him all the time. So, because he's just so gosh darn talented. You all are. You guys are all amazing people. But yeah, so just funny little tidbit that I had known about his dad before I got into the industry. And from what I have been told, he was a wonderful, wonderful person. And I think it's wonderful that you have, for lack of a better term, followed in his footsteps. I think that's really, really cool. But yeah, like there wasn't really any, I mean, it's not that there wasn't anything to it, but I've been an actor my whole life, and when I got to college, I took a voice and diction class with a wonderful lady by the name of Peggy O'Neill. She's wonderful. She's been in shows such as Digimon, Wolf's Rain, Scrap Princess, a lot of anime shows. And a show called Shinzo. Was it Shinzo? It was on...
Which I'm in.
Yes, there you go. It was on Toon Disney for the longest time, which is now... Is Disney XD what was Toon Disney? Okay, cool. I'm old. But anyway, so that eventually led me to also meeting Tony Oliver, who is a wonderful person, wonderful actor, wonderful human being all around. He ended up being able to see me kind of put my hand in and recording for a little bit, like dubbing for anime. And he said, oh, well, you should do this for a living. And I said, oh, okay. And so he put me on on an audition list for a show that was going to be happening in a few months, and that ended up being Magical Girl Lyrical Nanaha. And very much like what Laura said, just didn't stop from there, so there you go. Yay! Yeah! Oh, my turn. Yay!
Okay, my beginning isn't as awesome as everyone else's, but it's a little goofy because when I first started getting into voice acting was that I thought I was going to be a writer. And the thing is that I thought, okay, I'm going to be a writer. So when we had a senior project class where we get to do job exploration, we get to go job shadow some people, go into the studio, see what it's like, see if it's something we like to do or don't like to do. And I got to job shadow a voice actor. Can't say who he is, but you would probably know if I brought up some of his roles, so probably not talk about that. But anyways, it was for Digimon. I got to sit on a Digimon recording session, and I got to see, whoa, there's an art and craft to this. It isn't just like an extrovert getting to make stuff up in front of a mic. You get to have, like, instead of me asking questions to the director, he was just like, no, the ball's gonna roll. You have to observe as much as you can. I can't answer questions because while I'm working. So while I was watching that, I was just so inspired. The moment I got home, I was like, I need to be a voice actor. How do I do that? So I went online to a voice acting club, which is a voice acting community. And then I wanted to audition for something on the spot. And then I don't have a microphone though. So this is gonna be a story that goes into my first role ever, like ever. And what happened was that I was all like, I don't have a microphone, but I do have a camera. Okay, I'll perform these audition lines to a camera and extract these audio files from the video and turn that in. That's smart, right? When there's a will, there's a way. If you want to voice act, you're not gonna wait until you get a microphone, you're just gonna do it. So what happened was that they liked me enough to cast me as a character in this Resident Evil parody. They didn't like my audio quality though. So what happened was they animated a cup over my character's mouth. But I didn't stop, I just kept going! They didn't stop me, I just kept voice acting and auditioning, and the rest was history.
Nicely done. So a lot of people, like as you eloquently said, it's not just an extrovert getting to be in front of a microphone making a lot of loud noises. Yeah, not going there. Real briefly, and then I'm going to get into one kind of fun question before I actually open it up to Q&A. That actually took a lot of time, which was great because it was very in-depth. Real quickly, before we get into the funny question of the day, what's your warm-up process like leading into a role? What sort of preparation do you do? Once you know what you're doing, once you have as much information as you can, leading up to the moment you are about to get in front of that microphone. If anybody can give a little bit on that, or from whatever perspective. Yeah.
Okay, well mine's really short because I have a really long commute to Burbank. I live like an hour away. So when I'm not like singing along to whatever's on Spotify, I just try to stretch my mouth as much as possible. Sounds gross, but it's kind of like, okay, I gotta make sure that I can actually pronounce all these words, have this crisp diction going on. So I just do in traffic. Making all these weird noises.
I would love
Stuff
to
like
be part of this.
That's just what I do.
I sit in traffic a lot too, but instead of stretching my mouth, I just yell at the person next to me. It's a great vocal warm-up.
That's no lie.
Prepare? What? To be perfectly honest, if if we're doing video games and we're doing anime, most of the time, if you're coming in for the supporting roles, you have no idea what you're going in to do. You go in and go, okay, here's a picture. Okay, that's what the guy looks like. Okay, here's a script. Go! And so we don't have a lot of time to prepare. If I'm doing something I know I'm going to be talking for a long time, like an audio book, I'll make sure I drink tea and do all that stuff. But if I'm going to a gig, I just go to the gig and say, well, let's see what the adventure's going to be today.
Along those same lines, very often, if I do any kind of preparation, very often, whatever the character is, it completely changes when I first walk in. It changes completely. I've been working on an original animated series, and I've been playing this character a certain way, and I'm cast that way, and it was great. And the animator from China, this lead animator, came into the studio last week to oversee and see things, and decided that the character that we had created over the past 6 or 7 months now, is not the way he wanted it, and we completely changed the character. So basically, character went from.
Kept you though, right?
Like, oh yes, and it's very exciting for me because I generally play. I have a resident British, kind of wonderful, kind of birdie woman thing, and I've cast this quite often, and it switched to a wonderful, happy Disney princess kind of sound, and I don't usually get to do that, so it's exciting. So you never know. You never know what you want and what that we're going to want, so I'm always ready to change on a dime based on what the creatives want us to do. So, yeah.
Let me tell you since I mainly direct, let me tell you a little bit about how I would prepare for something like that. Coffee, night.
And your English muffins. Don't forget your English muffins.
They're not English muffins. They are toaster waffles with peanut butter and honey. There's two things that I tend to do. One is to sing in the car. I like to sing in the car, whether I know the words or not. And the other thing that I would
These concerts are available on Instagram.
I see my daily routine, and this is no joke. It's every morning on Instagram. You can see it there. So you just follow me on Instagram, and you will see it. Yeah. The other thing that I would do is if it's new episodes of a series that we're working on, or if it's a new movie that we're working on, watch that a couple of times. A lot of the times the casting is that responsibility is on my shoulders to send out auditions or to just directly cast certain people. That is kind of tedious and time consuming, and you want to get it right, and you want to consider people who you've said I will be considering you, and you want to listen to those demos that people then email to you. So it's, there is a little bit of that in terms of the preparation, but then there's also, all right, we need to just listen to what this project needs and honor the needs of that project, and then watch it again so that, as a director, you need to tell all of the actors what they're doing. Like, for instance, Joe said he's going to walk in, he doesn't know what's up. It's up to somebody like myself to say, this is who your character is, this is why your character is important, this is what's happening in this scene. Or sometimes I'll say, this is what the arc of your character is going to do. You're going to die in a fiery blaze of, rage, but not yet. So we need to build that carefully over 3 episodes. But I want you to know we're building to that over 2 sessions or whatever, so that it's not just kind of flat and then, so it has some growth to it, which none of us would ever know unless someone would tell us. Some people like to think, oh, I'm not going to tell you what happens to your character, I want you to be surprised. But any of us actors don't like to be surprised if it's something we should know about our character. Like, for instance, my parents were killed by you, and now I'm pretending to be your best friend this whole time until I'm like, I'm killing you! Right? Like, you should know right away, hey, I'm letting you know that gang.
But we talked in the Miraculous panel this morning about stuff that happens with Miraculous, with the episodes, how they're done out of sequence. And there's a lot of shows where stuff happens out of sequence. I haven't been in that situation.
Yeah. So we try, you try and inform everybody as best you can, which means if you're the person who needs to be doing the informing, you need to do a little extra research on it, just so that you're clear. Because you don't want to be like, I don't know what happens, let's watch. Which does happen sometimes. You don't have an opportunity to prepare, and we're working on it quickly.
Or you haven't gotten the
we haven't gotten an episode yet to see, and they'll be like, hey, what's going on in this scene? I'm like, but we know the characters, and we know the formula of the episodes so much. Right now we're specifically talking Miraculous Ladybug. We'll be like, all right, let's watch, and we're like, we got it. We know what's up. Yeah.
I sleep.
Excellent. And hydrated sleep.
The most intelligent of all of us.
Well, after a very long video game session, I really do go home and just rest, unless I have a session after that, which I most of the time don't. I try and schedule and space it out so I can at least have my voice prepared for that day and that day only, and then I'll rest for the next day. But in all seriousness, rest is very, very important. Vocal rest is very important. Bryce, are you listening to this? Because you work so much, and I hope you have time to rest. I'm sorry.
Sleep is overrated.
But yeah, no, rest is very important. But as far as getting into character, honestly, it's really more of it's a mentality for me. So I just kind of envision that character, and I try and just get into that what that character's mindset, so to speak. Now, if it's a brand new character, as Joe was saying, then most of the time, if it's our first, it will be our first time seeing that character when we first start on a project. And I will say that every session, whether we know the character or not, is 100% cold reading. Does anybody not know what cold reading is? Oh, cool, everyone knows, yay! So every time we record in the booth, it is 100% cold reading. And with amazing directors like Ezra, we are able to get the great performances that you guys get to hear. So really, I love how it's one giant, big team effort, you know? It's very important to have all the players. So yeah, what about you, Laura?
What about me?
What do you do to prepare?
Oh, okay. How do I prepare? Well, yeah, it's a little bit of what everybody was saying, especially like when you're first walking in for a character, you often don't have any idea what you're doing, whether or not you've received like the character name, or if like, oh, you're just going in for a bunch of things. Guess what? You don't know what they are. Cool. And then sometimes you'll have like a name or a picture or something, and you can kind of try to glean off of that. Some of you were at my Q&A panel. I touched on this a little bit, but with The Promised Neverland, when I got cast as the character, a friend of mine sent me a text saying, you should probably read ahead in the manga before you start. And I was like, I don't know about that. I'm okay. I don't really need to. She's like, no, read ahead because of who you play. Just handle this for me. And I was like, okay. So I took a look, and it was really important that I read ahead. It was, yeah, it was, sometimes it's really helpful to do because depending on what kind of character you're playing, sometimes they have a lot more information than maybe they're divulging at the beginning, and you want to walk in at least with a little bit of something going on behind that, instead of just like, I'm super happy about everything, and you don't know any of the horrible shit that's going on in my head. And then on top of that, I play a lot of boys, a lot of boy voices, and that can be taxing, especially if you're screaming for most of it. And so when I know that I'm going to go in for probably a pretty taxing like boy character or something like that, something that's going to sit in my lower register, I'll sing in voice on my way, because if you can sing and it's not hurting you, I think you know that your placement is pretty solid and steady, because then you can stay there for hours. Because you don't want to, if you're interested in voice acting or something, and you have lots of voices and things that you do, you want to take into account, even if you're like, oh, this one sounds really, really cool, can it still sound cool in 4 hours after all of the stuff that you're doing, from crying to laughing to screaming to whispering to all of those other things? If you can manipulate your voice during all of that stuff within that new placement that you've got, then you're safe. Otherwise, you're going to wreck it and you won't be able to continue, your whole career. Yeah, so that's it.
You don't want to pull a Wreck-It Ralph.
No, you don't
We're gonna wreck it. We're gonna wreck it.
A lot of great responses here from our panel. What I'm going to ask now, we are about to open up for the Q&A. What I'm going to ask, if you do have a question, if you look, everyone, towards your left, this is Lamar. Everybody say hi, Lamar.
Hi, Lamar.
Lamar's kind of an awesome person here, and by kind of I mean really an awesome person. If you wouldn't mind lining up in this left aisle right here, if you have a question for our panel, I am going to ask to limit the questions to maybe 1 or 2 of our panelists. That way, if we have a lot, we can keep going through, and once you've asked your question, if you want to get back in line, if we have time, we'll get to you again. While you guys are lining up, I am going to ask my panel this question.
It's a fun one.
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
I haven't had enough experience with it, so my opinion is not relevant.
Not
yet.
relevant? Okay.
Yet.
It's the new millennium. Anything belongs on pizza. I heard about chocolate pizza for the first time this weekend.
Oreo.
That's not pizza. And no.
Is anybody keeping
It's all between us and our stuff.
I like it on pizza, so.
That's right.
But I'm not saying it belongs there. I'm saying I like the way that it tastes on pizza. I like grilled pineapple.
Canadian bacon.
But I don't think that it belongs there. Because pizza really should just be cheese and sauce and bread. That's all that should be on pizza. Tomato sauce. That is, I mean, I'm from New Jersey. I went to New York. I had a lot of pizza in New York. Pizza, that's it. I mean, I don't do pepperoni, so I don't even think pepperoni. Wow.
I'm a big fan of pineapple on pizza. Sorry. But this side of the room is adventurous. That side of the room is old-fashioned. But I'm with Joe also. Like, anything can go on pizza. Actually, I had, on the way here, there was some traffic right as we hit San Diego. And I'm like, we have to pull off the freeway and just hang out for a second. And I found a dessert place that makes cotton candy burritos.
Oh, yeah.
What? Oh, yeah, that's a thing. And I ate it. Oh.
Yeah.
How was it?
It's like, oh my gosh, it's so good, yeah. It's like cotton candy smashed into ice cream with toppings in it.
How are you still have teeth? How are you still alive?
I thought that was a good idea to calm my daughter down.
Did it work?
No.
I'm with you on pizza should be that way. It's the kosher thing.
Yeah.
If anything, pizza goes with falafel.
Oh, really?
Pizza and falafel and maybe tahini and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But I don't associate sweet things with pizza, so no.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I tolerate it on pizza at most. I tolerate it. Does it belong there? Only for the people who want it there.
There you go.
Put it all on my slices. I'll take some. We'll share.
I will say this for pineapple, not on pizza, but it's fine if you want to have it on good pizza, whatever. Keep it over there. No, but I don't know if you've ever done this, but if you soak pineapple in rum, and then throw that on the barbecue grill for a minute.
He's like, I gotta sit down.
Start a fire.
I mean, of a kind. A sort of fire. A delicious fire, a party fire. Hi.
All right.
All right, so the consensus of the panel, inconclusive, ladies and gentlemen. Totally okay. I understand we do have some wonderful attendees here who would like to ask a couple of questions. So we turn your attention, panel, to all right over here. And take it away.
Any question? If you were in My Hero Academia, what would be your quirk?
I know nothing about My Hero Academia.
Make one up. Make it up.
Quirk?
Yeah.
It's like, what is your what superpower would you have?
To read people's minds. I can read your mind right now. You're thinking of My Hero Academia.
I know, it's crazy, right?
Uh-huh.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, no, not me.
Yep.
Yes, you.
Oh, no, not
The one
me.
lounging in the chair.
I would be able to stop time so that I could nap whenever.
Nice. Oh, nice.
Yeah. Like a 20-minute power nap stop time. Yes.
Nice.
That would be the plan. That'd be magical.
Okay, so if I was in My Hero Academia, what would be my kink? Is that the question?
Whoa.
I said it right?
Work.
It would involve dog food. What?
It's not after hours.
No?
It's not after hours. Whoa.
I don't know what I heard. Courtney, what was it? Oh, it would be that my farts made everyone smarter.
I would have the quirk of being able to eat all the ice cream I wanted and to not gain weight.
Reality warping. It's overpowered, but it'll be my quirk.
You don't know what superpower is?
I'm actually in My Hero. I play the guy who creates vibrations and creates earthquakes. Yoshindo. I call him Discount Deku. Yeah, that's a good name for him. But now I just want the quirk of putting pineapple on everyone's pizza.
Come on.
Dora has not spoken.
Let me think. My quirk would be I could command all dogs to I don't know to cuddle with everybody and make everybody around me be in utter bliss in the kisses of the dogs that are around them.
That's very my hero.
S-class hero.
Pineapple on them.
And your question. Was there ever a scenario where you accidentally threw out your voice while recording?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It happened to me just the other day. Actually, it wasn't a recording. I was doing a table read of an animated film. We were actually doing the table read, and I was playing a character. Suddenly, in the middle of it, my voice just went bye-bye. It just disappeared. They were recording it because they were recording the table read, but it just...
Yes, actually, it was there was a couple times, and both times had to do with Attack on Titan. So in Attack on Titan, there are Titan forms of certain characters. Spoiler, it's been out for like 6 years. My character in her Titan form had to scream very loudly 3 times in a row in the original series, and then she randomly turns and screams in Attack on Titan Junior High. And both times I screamed so harshly on my vocal cords because Mike McFarlane, the director of Attack on Titan, told us that, told myself and Bryce, because we both had to do those Titan screams, he told us that he didn't want it to be clean. He wanted it to be rough and animalistic. So we just kind of had to let it go. And the first time I did it, again, had to be 3 times in a row. And luckily we saved it till the last bit of the session because otherwise I wouldn't have continued it. But by the end of the session, my voice was shot. So it was a lot of fun though because it ended up sounding pretty cool. And then in Attack on Titan Junior High, I had to do so many different takes for that, and if you are familiar with it, it's the episode where, it's the love letter episode, where Jean keeps getting love letters in his locker, and it turns out that Annie knows the person who's doing it, and she turns around to summon her, because I guess Titans communicate with screaming, or groaning and moaning, so she just turns, or she looks to Jean and she says, "I'll summon her." And then she turns around, she just screams bloody murder. And it was so difficult, I couldn't get the whole scream out. And I felt like you, with the sweet potatoes. The sweet potato story, I felt like that. And I was like, oh, now I understand, Bryce. Now I get it, I understand. So yeah, my voice was trashed after that, so.
Anybody else? Anybody else like you? Remember, you're not obligated to share, but if you'd like.
It has not happened to me because I actually, before this, I had horrible vocal nodes, and it was so bad I almost was going to have surgery. And this was back when I was a teacher, and so I actually spent an entire summer not speaking at all. And so I'm terrified of doing anything that'll hurt my voice. And so luckily I've been so conscious of it that it hasn't happened yet, and hopefully it'll never happen. Yeah.
If I scream too loudly, I start to hiccup. So when it starts, it's like, hey! I'm like, oh, how am I gonna get through this? I'm like, hey! So I guess it's a way, it helps me preserve myself. It's very, very frustrating when it happens. Everyone starts to laugh, which is a fine phase. The laughing phase is fine, but then still also having to get the scream out or that big yell out, and then knowing that it like triggers this reflex hiccup reaction, it starts to get internally gets really frustrating, and then I'm mad at my hiccup, and I'm like, oh, this.
Let's see. For me, it doesn't happen too often, but one time, because of Beyblade, there's only so many times you can say "let it rip" before something rips. My voice, you silly people!
If it was me, we would all be so much smarter.
I know! And I couldn't talk for like 4 days.
Tell me again about how difficult Beyblade is.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I haven't ever reached a point where I was like, I might be in trouble. But I've definitely reached the end of a session and been like, oh, it's really good that we're done. Oh, Jesus. I've also been tried to be as conscious of it as possible. I'll try to make sure that the more vocally stressful stuff is done towards the end of the week or the end of the day at least, if I possibly can. There have been moments where I was like, well, first you have to do, 2 or 3 hours of Beyblade, and then you need to go and do a very, quiet, introspective, or female character for some video game.
Someone who sounds like this.
Yeah, that. That is not as much fun after you've been letting it rip, per se.
Someone sounds adorable.
But I've been incredibly lucky to have very generous and compassionate and thoughtful directors like Ezra, who pay attention to what I'm doing, and if there's any chance that possibly I'm placing wrong, they'll be like, hey, make sure that it's in the right placement, or why don't we take another break, because it sounds like you're dying. So I've been very fortunate in that respect. I knock on wood, have never reached a point where it's like I have to go home early, or I felt anything pop or anything. Oh God, no, please. So I've been lucky.
I do a lot of screaming all the time.
And sometimes at work.
Yes, once in a while at work. I feel like I can scream really loud and a lot in certain ranges of my voice, but when I get my man voice on, it's kind of difficult to scream in that range. So I fully lost my voice during my last scene in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I play Caesar Zeppeli, who shoots bubbles, and it's a very Family Guy-inspired Italian accent. And screaming in that voice just is difficult for me. So I actually had a convention appearance the day after I recorded that, and I ran a panel, and the whole panel I was like, I swear I'm Bryce Papenbrook, guys. Just gotta trust me. I was recording something crazy yesterday. You guys will like it. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna keep moving on with our next questions. So for the panelists, I know we are a little short on time here. I'm gonna limit the responses to the first 2 or 3, if that's fine. We'll just keep it. Well, so what you want? Go ahead.
Hi. I was wondering if Bryce and Laura could do impressions of each other's Titan characters.
I'm sorry. Lauren.
Lauren.
Yeah.
Sorry.
An impression of each other's Titan? I mean, her Titan character just goes, really loud.
And his goes, I will say though that I can do an impression of, okay, so when you see Aaron in the Titan form, but you see Aaron speaking to himself, having an inner monologue in the first season, it gave me the creeps. It was, what's the line? I'll kill them. I'll kill them all. And I'm like, wow. Okay, Bryce, you stand right over there. Just thanks.
I wish I could do an impression of your laugh from the first season. I was actually there watching her record that laugh, and that was done in one take, and I was like, and I'm ready to leave.
I love it. It was a lot of fun.
But yes.
Thanks.
Thank you.
On the panel, who inspires you the most?
From each other, or?
Everybody inspires me. There, I said it.
Whole panel.
Yeah, everybody on this panel in their own way is incredibly inspirational. Bryce, because I watched him come up as a kid. I watched where he came from. Ezra, because I've been directed by him so many times. You guys, because when you guys came in, you just kind of came in like gangbusters and charged in and took over this industry, the voice work community. You're all amazing.
That's a great answer, Joe.
And Joe's Joe.
We all love Joe.
Thank you for knowing that.
Lauren and Kimlin, could you tell me what anime character you'd be for a day and why?
Huh? May you repeat that?
Anime character for a
What
day.
anime character would you be for a day and why?
For a day or be?
What would you be for a day?
Be
What
for a
anime
day?
character would you be for a day and why?
I'm sorry, what was that?
It's correct. Needs to be
Here we
superhero.
go.
I'm trying to decide. There's just so many. I wish I could be a magical girl. I want to be a magical girl, but I sound like this.
If you've seen Madoka Magica, that's not a good wish to have. So I'm just being anime character for a day. Oh God. Okay. Think, Lauren. Think. Ooh, I know. Does anybody know the show Fushigi Yugi?
Yeah!
I would be Miyaka for a day. Because Fushigi Yugi was one of my favorite anime shows back in the day, and it's awesome. There's too many characters, you guys. There's too. Wait, no! Can I change my answer? I want to change my answer. I would totes be Sailor Neptune for a day. I just would say she's so pretty and perfect, and I want to be her when I grow up. Anyway, I mean, she's a magical girl, right? She is a magical girl. I want to be a magical girl. It'll happen. It will happen, Kimlin. Right? It'll happen. Yes.
You want me a contract?
Hi. You might have seen me before, two of you, but this is for Lauren, Ezra, and Bryce. If you could have any characters that you played as a family member, who would it be?
That I played?
Anyone that you played.
Anyone that you
There's a lot that I wouldn't want in my family.
I was thinking the same thing. Oh man. You know what? I'd love to have Merlin as a family member because Merlin is badass. She's so cool, and she doesn't have a ton of human emotion, but she seems like that type of family member that you could go to get blunt, good advice from. So, you know, some Merlin.
I would love to have Adrian as a family member. Just go kick it in Paris and hang out over there in the mansion.
I would have to go with Adrian's bodyguard because he doesn't talk much, and I would not need to buy a home security system. He's a chauffeur, so he would also drive around. That would be a great family member. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for your question.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps it up for this Voice Actors Roundtable. Again, a big round of applause for Bryce Papenbrook, Kim Lynn Tran, Laura Stahl, Dora Fine, Ezra Rice, Joe Ockman, and Laura Landa. One more round of applause for yourselves for hanging out here, folks. This concludes our Voice Actors